Daisy. I was on another tab. My hair is going nuts today. Hey, I'm Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show, where we watch old 16mm films and make wry comments about them, or just enjoy them for what they are, transporting us to another time, another place where our worries were different. Did I say I was Skip Elsheimer? I can't remember who I am. Today is a wonderful day because it's not humid outside in Raleigh, North Carolina, where the AV Geeks archive is, and we actually have a door open, some doors open, so we got some fresh air coming in to get the vinegar stink out. So, pretty excited. So excited that let's watch a film called Children in Autumn.
Can you guess what Jane and her friend Susan are doing with the shopping bag? They're going to collect signs of autumn for their class exhibit. It is the beginning of autumn, or as it is also called, fall. Jane's and Susan's teacher has asked each of her pupils to look all around and to gather together different signs of autumn to learn what autumn is all about. Where Jane and Susan live, the first signs of autumn appear almost as soon as school starts. In September, the garden is full of signs of autumn. Jane will choose some fall flowers for her collection. Marigolds and different kinds of zinnias are in full bloom. Cool autumn nights will kill some of these flowers quickly, the zinnias and the morning glory, for instance. But dahlias will bloom for another month. Some hardy flowers, like mums and asters, will bloom even past the early frosts. With the sun setting earlier each day, the days in September may sometimes turn cool quickly. This is the beginning of the football season. Football is Jerry Frank's favorite fall game. Mrs. Knapp across the street has a fine vegetable garden. She picks the tomatoes before they get too ripe. Mrs. Knapp planted them last spring. All through the summer, they grew in the warm sun, and now, every day, some tomatoes get just right for picking. From the nearby arbor, Mrs. Knapp selects some ripe grapes for the girls. See what a beautiful ripe purple they are? They too should be picked before they get too soft, or before the birds get them all. The birds are having a great time feasting on the wild buckthorns and the mountain ash. In autumn, many trees are heavy with fruit. Crab apples are ready for canning. These late ripening apples will keep all winter if properly stored. Today, the sun has been shining on our part of the earth for 12 hours. The night will be exactly as long as the day was. We call this day the time of the autumnal equinox. This is really the first day of autumn. The time when we have warm days in October is called Indian summer. The whole countryside is splashed with yellows and reds and beautiful browns. The maple tree has turned to gold and orange, and the leaves of some oaks are changing to a flaming red. The leaves are beginning to fall from some trees. Jane's teacher, Miss Phillips, is taking a few members of the Nature Club to the Forest Preserve to enjoy the colors of Indian summer. Autumnal equinox, the days have been growing gradually shorter and the nights colder, making the trees change their green coloring to yellow and red and brown. Now they'll go exploring. The Washington hawthorn has already lost all its leaves. Its red fruits have been shriveled by the frost. Inside the fruits are tiny seeds which the birds carry far away, spreading new hawthorns about the countryside. Nearby, the leaves of the winter honeysuckle have turned a rich chocolate color. Between the old leaves, buds have formed, out of which new leaves will sprout next spring. There is so much to be seen in the forest in fall. With each gust of wind, the trees shed more leaves, and fruits and nuts fall to the ground. That's nature's way of replanting itself. Jerry and Jane pick up some acorns for Jane's collection. Acorns are seeds of oak trees. From acorns, new oak trees may grow, and many animals live off the nourishing nuts. What the squirrels cannot eat, they'll hide. Under the autumn leaves, the weasel digs a burrow for its winter home. It has already changed the color of its fur for winter. The raccoon is getting fatter by the day. When he retires into this hollow tree for the winter, he will have enough fat to keep him till spring. Among the fallen leaves, Jane and her club friends find many beautiful samples for their collection. Soon they will be ready for the big autumn show. On the way home, the children see the farmer collecting the autumn harvest. The golden corn, the yellow pumpkins, and the many fruits and vegetables, all grown on the nearby truck farms. The pumpkins are offered for sale. Pumpkins for Halloween. Jane would like one, and so would Jerry. Halloween is another sign of autumn. It tells us that October is drawing to an end. One day in November, Jane and Jerry notice an empty bird's nest. Many birds have already gone south. The last flock of geese is flying away. But some birds stay on all winter long. For them, Jerry and Jane are setting up a bird feeder. The seeds may help some birds to survive the hardships of winter. And now Jane and Jerry have some chores to do in the yard. With Mrs. Frank's help, they are raking up the leaves. Some plants form seeds and then dry up at the end of the season. The roots of other plants stay alive under the ground till next spring. Notice how the bed of asters and chrysanthemums has changed as a result of heavy November frost. This is the same bed you saw in the beginning of the film when Jane was picking flowers for the fall exhibit. How lifeless the mums look now. Last night's frost killed the last blooms. Jerry and Jane are carrying leaves into a corner of the garden where their father will make a compost pile over the weekend. There the leaves will rot and become a kind of fertilizer. In front of the house, the branches are already completely bare. The lawn is covered with dry leaves. The children are warmly dressed. Even on sunny days, the November air is brisk. Jerry is having fun with Sparky. The dog is growing a heavy coat of fur, heavy enough to keep him warm during the winter months. In some towns, burning leaves is not permitted because of fire hazards. But where the Franks live, people may burn leaves. The smell of burning leaves is another sign of autumn. Mrs. Frank has canned some tomatoes from the neighbor's garden. Her pantry is ready for the winter. Canning is done mostly in autumn. Tomorrow is the day of the autumn exhibit at school. With Jerry's help, Jane has gathered together a rich collection. Although it is still early afternoon, Mrs. Frank needs more light to work in the kitchen. "Hey," says Jerry, "here's another sign of autumn. The days are getting shorter." Let's put a light bulb into the collection to remind us that the sun sets earlier every day in autumn. Jane's proud of her collection. She hopes she'll win a star for it. But win or not, she's learned a lot by collecting the signs of autumn. Why don't you try to make your own collection? You too may find an exciting adventure in learning new things about autumn.
Encyclopedia Britannica. Got some jaunty music throughout. Autumn is my favorite season. Summer, don't like. Winter is okay. Spring's okay. Summer's probably my least favorite, believe it or not. Because it's so hot. It just drains on me. But enough about me. We have a film set up on the telecine. Telecine is what we use to digitize and stream video live. So we're going directly from film through a variety of tubes and wires and pumping it out to you, like waterworks. So this is part of a series that was actually on television in the early 70s, late 60s. It's called Hot Dog, and they show you how different things are made. This one's about t-shirts. Enjoy. Hold on. And that was Joanne Worley. You might know from Laugh-In, which was a very popular show at the time. Other people that appear on the show, this little short thing, Jonathan Winters, Woody Allen. I can't remember who else I remember. I have a couple of films in this series. I've been actively looking for a bunch of them because, well, one, it shows assembly line footage and how stuff is manufactured, but yeah, it's pretty great. Let's see. Let's learn about milk.
When the pioneers moved westward in their wagons drawn by oxen, one of their most important possessions was the family cow. For then, the family could be sure to have milk. Even in pioneer days, milk was thought of as the most nearly perfect food. When the pioneers settled on their new farms, the younger children often came along to watch while the cow was being milked. Milking, morning and night, was a daily chore, and one that the children would soon have to help with. The cows of those days did not give nearly as much milk as modern milk cows do. Sometimes the cream was skimmed off the milk and poured into the churn. The children would often do the churning. Can you guess what she's making? Yes, it's butter, made by churning or beating the cream. The milk was kept in the cellar so that it would stay cool, but usually the cellar wasn't cold enough to keep the milk fresh very long. Today, modern refrigerators let us keep milk for several days, fresh and cold and good to drink. In towns and cities, there are dairies which deliver a fresh supply as often as we need it, right to our doorstep, of milk and the things made from milk like cream, butter, and cheese. The dairy gets its milk from cows kept on many farms called dairy farms. These cows have been bred especially to give a lot of milk and are called dairy cows. The dairy farmer works hard all year to provide the right kind of feed for his cows. To give milk, a cow must have a calf. Then the cow will give milk most of the year. A few days after it's born, the calf is taught to drink milk from a pail instead of nursing the mother cow. The little calf does not need all the mother cow's milk. The farmer milks the cow twice each day. A dairy cow gives about 15 quarts of milk a day. Some give less and some give much more than this. In winter and at night on the most modern farms, the cows stay in what are called loafing barns. Here they may eat and rest as they please. On this farm, the milking is done in a separate building called a milking parlor. It's brightly lighted and is scrubbed clean and sweet every day. This milking parlor has glass pipes through which the milk will flow. They are washed clean with a special solution. The cows are brought to the milking parlor twice each day, morning and evening. They will be fed here as well as milked. They get a special mixture of ground up grain. Before the milking starts, the dairyman carefully washes the cow's udder. The first milk goes into a special cup called a strip cup. The dairyman inspects this milk for cleanliness before the cow is milked. Modern dairy farms use milking machines. Before milking, the dairyman carefully rinses each machine in a sterilizing water solution. Now, the 4 cups are attached to the cow's udder. The machine milks the cow in much the same way as the dairyman would milk with his hands. The machine pumps the milk into the pipes overhead. The milk runs through the pipes to a glass container in the next room. Then the warm milk goes to a refrigerated holding tank for cooling. Every day, a big truck comes to take the farmer's milk to the milk plant. The tank on this truck is especially made to keep the milk cold. The milk will be pumped from the farmer's holding tank into the tank on the truck. The driver attaches a sanitary flexible tube to the pipe from the holding tank. Before the milk is pumped, the driver takes samples of the milk to be tested at the milk plant. He checks the temperature of the milk to make sure it's cold. Tank trucks like this often collect milk from a number of dairy farms before returning to the milk plant. At the dairy plant, milk arrives in big milk cans as well as in the tank trucks. Many farmers, especially those with small dairy herds, usually haul their milk in cans. This dairy has a conveyor to move the cans into the plant. The milk from tank trucks is piped through flexible tubes directly into the dairy's refrigerated holding tanks, where it is kept cold. In the dairy laboratory, the samples of the milk from each farm are tested for purity. Each sample is also checked for the amount of cream it contains. In the dairy plant, every pipe and machine is cleaned and sterilized every day. Some of the pipes can be taken apart to be scrubbed and sterilized, and a cleaning solution is pumped through others. Back at the holding tanks, the cold milk is ready to start its trip through the dairy. All the milk goes through a pasteurizer. Pasteurizing means heating the milk just enough to destroy germs. The dairyman in charge of the pasteurizer keeps a close check on the temperature. Turning a valve sends the milk from the holding tanks through clean pipes to the pasteurizer. In the pasteurizer, the milk is heated to exactly 161 degrees for just 15 seconds, and then is quickly cooled to about 35 degrees, just a little above freezing. When ordinary milk is allowed to stand, the cream rises to the top, and the bottle must be shaken to mix the cream with the milk. Dairies also bottle milk in which the cream does not separate. This is called homogenized milk. Milk that is going to be homogenized is pumped through this machine, which breaks up the cream into tiny droplets so small that they never rise and collect on top. Milk bottles are washed in this automatic bottle washer. Here, bottles are rinsed, soaked, scrubbed, and rinsed again, both inside and outside. Then they are sterilized and cooled. This machine can wash and sterilize 12,000 bottles in an hour. And now the milk is ready to use. It will go into a big cold storage room to await delivery. It has been handled by modern machinery from the moment it left the cow. Not a single drop has been touched by hand. This churn turns cream into butter, which is wrapped by machine after it has been chilled and cut to the right size. And here are machines that are making a favorite dairy food. Can you guess what this will be? Yes, it's ice cream. And this is cottage cheese. These are just a few of the many good things to eat that our dairies make from milk. Every morning, the dairy trucks load up to deliver the freshly bottled milk and milk products. Many dairies supply milk in wax paper containers. The milk in wax paper containers is usually delivered to stores where it's kept in refrigerated coolers. Other dairy trucks bring cold, fresh milk and milk products right to our homes, so that you can have your quart of milk and other dairy foods you need every day.
Quite a few films about milk, many of them made by the National Dairy Council, but this one, Encyclopedia Britannica. They stress, a lot of the films stress hygiene, cleanliness, wholesomeness, which tells me that there must have been a problem at some point with dairies being not very clean, or at least people thinking they're not very clean. Because there's a lot of talk about that. There's the whole idea of factory tours were supposedly a way to show how hygienic the food manufacturing process was. So you would tour a dairy, not a deli, and you would see the process, and you would see what they would do and how clean everything was, and all the quality assurance that they would do, and all that. And so these films that show how something's made oftentimes stress that the cleanliness. All right, I got another film set up here. This one's by Jim Burrows, and I don't know if there's going to be singing in it. Music certainly plays a role in it, but I don't know if there's actually going to be music. Let me actually type in the title. This is Coming Through the Rye. Enjoy.
After the first show, it'll be 30 cents for the children. Right now, for the first show, it's finished.
Just wind her up with this hand crank, put the reproducer head on, turn her on, there she goes.
Piccolo solo coming through the rye with variations into Sun Records.
You like this, Sonny?
I guess so. What is it?
Edison phone, my boy. More than 50 years older than you are. First kind of record player ever made. Say, your mom and dad collect old records?
I don't think so. How much you gonna sell it for?
I'd say about $100. Worth every penny of it. You haven't got any money, have you, kid?
No. But I've got portable color TV I got for my birthday. Do you trade it for that, mister?
Well, I don't know now. I'd have to take a look at it first, wouldn't I? Are you sure that TV belongs to you?
Sure, I'm sure. I'll go home and get it. Thing you got? Yeah, kid, what do you got there? Some kind of dumb toy or something? Come on, show us how it works, stupid. What are you trying to do? Hide it from us or something? I was just playing with it, that's all. Well, come on, let's see it. Give me that thing. Hey, how does something work? Please, don't break it. Leave it alone. Yes, please. Stop it, you'll break it. It's just a piece of junk. Oh, come on, guys. Let's leave him alone. Come on.
All 9 times by the Edison Quartet.
Sorry if that was triggering. I certainly was bullied as a child for the things that I enjoyed, which other kids didn't understand, and just took an opportunity to be mean. I have quite a few films that deal with this subject, actually. The Boy Who Liked Deer. There's even ones with girls who are just being mean, just not understanding. So this film resonates with me, and I think that while it is triggering as far as adults, but it is kind of reassuring as a kid, because you realize, oh, I'm not the only one that's being picked on. It's just there's a bunch of brutes out there, and they suck. Thank you, Alex, for the coffee. Sorry, old radio, well, you're welcome for showing it, and then I'm sorry that it turned bad. It's interesting, I have another film called The Antique Phonograph, which is a similar story, but it's in a post-apocalyptic world. I might try to dig that up at some point and show that. Here's a film called Let's Go America, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. Enjoy.
Under the spreading chestnut tree, the village smithy stands. So sang the poet Longfellow of one of our colorful and romantic American industries of olden times, times which we sometimes call the good old days. But just how good were the good old days? The blacksmith of olden times, a mighty man was he. He had to be. He was the steel industry. the tiller of the soil. A mighty man was he also, and he had to be. He was the food industry, toiling for the bare necessities of life. The woman in the home. Not often do you hear her grandchildren sigh for the good old days, not if they really know how she labored from dawn to dark. We need to know from whence we have come, from what we have advanced, to appreciate what we have achieved, and to have faith in opportunities to come through the American system, founded upon liberty and freedom of initiative that has created a progress envied by all other nations. Go back 50, 100 years, and watch this system at work. America marching forward, forward on the road to the marvels of today, and a more widespread distribution of the benefits of industry than any other nation on the globe has ever seen. Liberty and freedom of enterprise were the gifts that stimulated creative minds in America. In those minds, ideas were taking shape. Dreams were becoming realities. Progress was being won, and future wealth produced for all in new products, new services, new jobs. What an inspiration to our forefathers who toiled hard and long, if they could have seen beyond their horizon. But such vision is given to few men. There have always been skeptics, pessimists, doubters, people who are willing to call the world a finished job 50 years ago. The path of industrial progress has never been easy for those who have dared to set their feet resolutely upon it. Witness.
It's just a fad. Never be practical. Suppose it rained.
She won't run. She won't fly.
As far back as 1830, there was a canned food industry in America.
The hours are from 7 in the morning till 6:30 at night. The wages are $1 a day. Satisfactory?
Oh, yes, indeed, Mr. Daggett. When can I start?
You started. Get to work in there.
Thank you, sir.
Hang your hat and coat over there.
It'll do all this work even faster than you can think about it. It's a can-making machine.
Say, there's no future in this business if machines take our jobs away from us.
There's no future anyhow. Who's ever gonna eat canned stuff? Excepting sailors. Heaven help them.
It can't be done. It won't go.
It won't fly.
It won't work.
We can't do it.
What's the use?
And in spite of the dismal chorus that has ever been with us, America marches forward.
Dear, that was a delicious soup we had tonight. You sure can cook.
I'm glad you think I can cook, dear.
We have made progress. Inventive genius has brought us a long way from the toil and labor of the frontier home, far from the drudgery with tools that were mere extensions of a man's arms, and from the labors of the blacksmith, whose arms were like iron bands, but whose back ached with the endless drudgery of his daily task. Today, no spreading chestnut tree could cover the nation's smithy, the mills that require thousands of modern blacksmiths to meet the demand for steel. The pioneer's acre of wheat, which demanded of him the last ounce of his strength, now stretches out to far horizons, because American ingenuity has harnessed power and made it the servant of man. It is these new days and these new methods of modern industry that have provided progress, jobs, human comfort, and greater opportunities for more people than our forefathers ever dreamed of, by producing more of the things that people want. Progress, jobs, human comfort, and more wealth for more people. These things have not just happened. Science and industry have worked together to improve the old and to create the new. And even today, new methods and new things still in the development stage throughout the nation's thousands of workshops will create new opportunities, new jobs, more wealth for all in the years to come. The test tube of science holds television, the wings of tomorrow, new types of houses, air conditioning, streamlined trains. Unnumbered things will be developed because of this nation's imperishable heritage of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is this that has given us all of the industrial progress that we've achieved in the past and a certainty of progress in the future. A certainty as long as this great gift of liberty, individual liberty to grow greater and better, is valued and protected. You are descendants of pioneers, but you are also pioneers. Opportunities still rise from every smokestack, every test tube, every laboratory, every workshop in the land. You have come a long way from the drudgery of the blacksmith shop and the hand labor of that day. But your journey forward has just started, because this is America.
Where do we go from here?
Straight ahead and don't spare the horses.
Horses, your grandfather. There aren't any more horses.
My grandfather. I wonder what our grandparents would say if they could see the world as it is now.
Great work, kids. Carry on.
Carry on what?
The heritage they handed us. Freedom. Individual initiative. Opportunity.
Let's go, America!
Such a rah-rah film for progress. Hindsight is 20/20 with a lot of that, and certainly we do not toil, physical toil as much, although there are some people that do physical toil in the United States, and they don't get paid even close to minimum wage. They do piecework, and they do picking vegetables. They still toil. But, yeah, technology. It's exciting. Oh, very exciting. Anyways, I've got another one in that series that I might show tomorrow. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in today. Sorry that I triggered some folks. You know, that's what some of these 70s films do. I mean, this one was like, what, 72, 73? Around the same time as Inside Out. You know, those are pushing some emotional buttons, you know, with kids, trying to tell stories that get kids to explore their feelings regarding a world that seems somewhat cruel and unfair, and how to process that. So, you know, I don't think we get those messages in the 80s as much as we do in the 70s, and maybe that's why I like the 70s so much, is that they kind of let all that stuff out. Anyways, thanks again for tuning in. If you like what you saw, you can buy us coffee. Well, that's weird. I just noticed something. Huh. There we go. Maybe that's what someone was talking about. Alright. You can buy some coffee at the buymeacoffee.com/avgeeks. You can also go to avgeeks.com and buy DVDs there. You can like and subscribe. You can ring a little like button or a bell or all that stuff. Those are great ways to say, hey, I like AV Geeks, I like what they're doing, and I would like to see more films that they do. As always, it's a peace sign. We love each other. This is what's inside like one film can. I'm actively looking for another film can that has even more interesting messages to us, besides an FBI warning. But I haven't found it yet, so we'll just keep going until we find it. Everybody have a good rest of your day, and join us tomorrow for the 2000th film that we've shown since the beginning of the pandemic. 2000th film. Holy cow. Alright, everybody. Take care. We'll see you soon.